Sometimes there's nothing better than when you have a perfect plot involving multiple characters mixed in with some downright gruesome activity, and today's tale has plenty of it. We head to the frigid hell of Antarctica, where we see a group of American research scientists are disturbed by a Norwegian pilot shooting at what seems to be a husky mountain dog. Little do they know, that innocent creature they let in will soon be the demise of the entire crew. A creature of some sort takes the shape of its subject, calculated with misguiding its victim, killing crew members one by one. With the lack of trust among the crew mixed in with the below freezing conditions, time, resources, and hope are not on their side. Can they outlast this thing? Tonight, we do a discussion of sorts on John Carpenter's 1982 sci-fi horror classic, The Thing. This is a Comic Talkers production, and you are listening to a There's a Storm in About 6 Hours. We're going to find out who's who edition of Just for Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. With me, as always, is Mr. B-Dawg, Mr. Brandon. What's going on tonight, man? How you doing?
I wish I had a little glass of whiskey next to me, but I don't. But
Get some J&B.
J&B. But I'm excited about this, and we couldn't do this discussion without two guests of ours. First off, we want to welcome back to the podcast. You know him as Mr. Rick Prince. Rick, how are you doing?
I do well, gentlemen. Thank you for having me back on one of my favorite films, probably the favorite film. So I'm always happy to talk about The Thing.
We talked about doing this. What was it? You and our other guest, which I'm going to introduce next. You know him as Rome's Guy on YouTube. He's also now a co-host of mine on Comic Talkers. Please welcome to the first time on the podcast, Rome's. Rome's, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for inviting me, man. This is like one of my favorite movies, man. I love creeping people out that have never seen this movie before, so it's gonna be fun talking about it.
It really is. Like, what was it when we talked with? What was it when we talked about doing this? We talked with Rick because doing our horror trivia. This was one of your movies you chose for your horror trivia showdown. And the best thing too about this, when we talked with Rome's about this, when you and I really first started talking about bringing you on to Comic Talkers, you've stated this was one of your favorite movies of all time.
Exactly.
And so when Pat and I just finally finalized it, we're like, okay, we got to ask Rome's too, because Rome's, I know you are a huge fan of this. I have to ask a question though. Would you like to see this be made into a comic book form, or would you rather not?
I would rather hear like a sequel or like a kind of like a spin-off type of story with this type of movie. Because after reading the book, man, dude, it's just like you get a little extra information. I feel like they could probably like pepper that in into like a prequel. Well, I know they did a prequel, but like in like a comic book thing.
There's a comic book right up here that's included in some of the canon. So it can be done. It can be done. I'd love to see it.
And I know that it was a video game as well. I didn't get a chance to play that video game. I wish I did, but back then I was a big scaredy cat, and this movie is probably one of the reasons why I was a scaredy cat, because I watched this at an age maybe I should have.
Questionable age, right? Yeah. Hey, we've all been there.
Hey, my mom said just watch it. It's good. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was my dad for me. I caught it young too, and I think we were talking earlier. There's different impressions you have at different ages when you rewatch it, because some of you haven't even seen it until recently. Patrick, Brandon, so it's awesome to hear the feedback of different generations and how a film from 1982 stands up to a modern audience in 2025.
And even the themes are like very relevant, especially today, which is like with isolation and all that. And
distrust.
Little shameless plug, but I did talk about this on my channel. So
yeah.
No.
Have to go over there and check that out.
But it's a good thing, and like you said, Rick, too, just kind of start us off to kind of go over some of the background of this movie. This movie was kind of bombed in the box office when it first started coming out. It was not really well received. And if I'm not mistaken, and I think I was telling Pat beforehand, I was reading notes on this. This movie was banned in a country. Like, they refused to show this in Finland, of all places. Refused to show this in Finland. because of how gruesome it was, and there was other factors that we were not disclosed why they banned this movie in Finland of all places.
Yeah, this is, part of the setting and establishing of the genre at that time. So, and it also, for people that have watched it, it's a compelling ending for sure.
Oh yeah.
But maybe not the one for the mainstream audience.
It's not your everyday ending, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so good. Now this type of dystopian,
Drawn out.
bleak, it's not so great. Like that's common. It's in just everything that you see. But at the time, it was different, and it being banned and it being displaced in a theatrical debut didn't help its metric to be judged, which is at the box office and then returns financially.
And that's what I said. Like, I remember my mom trying to get me to watch this as a kid. I hated it, and I just backed away because I wasn't a horror fan. But my mom would like force me to watch horror. Like, he would be like, "Let's watch House of Wax," and I remember being so disturbed in that movie. I was like, "That
Actually,
all that."
It's a little different entrance for that type of the age group. If you're going to sit down and watch this bleak, cold environment with a bunch of guys, in the cold, or you're going to watch one with Paris Hilton and the crew, I guess, or you just have a different relationship. At least I know that person or something. The setup is a little easier on the Waxworks.
I had the same with my mom too. I mean, I really happy that she like got me to watch this movie because like in the long run,
props to mom.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. Hopefully she's gonna watch. So, but like, yeah, this man, dude, this movie is it's special, and I know about all that controversy because I've watched this movie since I was like that age. Like, it's now like a Halloween classic for me, I guess.
Well, and going into what we have here, of course, this movie was released in 1982. It was directed by John Carpenter. The cast includes Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David, Richard Mauser, T.K. Carter, David Clinton, Richard Dysart, I'll get it out one way or another, Charles Hallahan, Peter Maloney, Donald Moffat, Joel Polis, and Thomas G. Waits. The budget for this film was $15 million. Now, I know, Rick, you and I have talked about this too with Pat and our friend Adam, talking about for Halloween, for having the budget it does, and this being like really John Carpenter's like first like big budget film, and for it to go so bad, what's your take on that? Like, I know, like, what was it? I think the Halloween budget was not big, and then they go to something like this.
No, I think it's like 17 something, by contrast, just very small, and enough to get by, maybe even 700,000. Like it could be microscopic. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but for this to be, it cleared, and then the next year it cleared more, and then as it gets re-released, it changes its impression over time. But I'm sure at the time, it's this is our summer movie that we're coming out with, and we're looking to our historical records say we should 2x our investment, and then when it doesn't clear, and their judgment of a failure is not tripling, quadrupling. So if it made its money back, but that's not even happening now with some of these hundreds of $1 million properties.
Right.
So it all depended on the faith of the people who made it and what they felt about their product, whether the studio judged it poorly or not. As an investment, those are probably two different conversations.
One key factor on that too, I wanted to bring up, where I think might have had a little bit to do with it. I think you got to think of the release time of this movie, and I think I want to say it rode the coattails of E.T., if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it
did.
The same year as E.T., and it came out. What was the other movie that it came out with? They came out with another
Blade Runner.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Same, not too far away from Blade Runner.
What a year to be going to the theater, which I did. That was fantastic. But you can imagine the accidental if you go into the wrong theater with the family and you wind up in the thing trying to go
yeah,
see
dude, that's gonna
ET.
be
Oh,
wild.
you wanted the sci-fi movie with the alien? Yeah, it's down here on the left.
Well, I think
It's home.
I think
You
that
are home.
Yeah.
I think another factor is that I think around that time there was like people weren't having jobs. I forgot a recession. I think it was
Okay.
and people
Economy.
wanted. Yeah, the economy was horrible. The unemployment rate was skyrocketed, and people didn't want something bleak. They they wanted something a little more happier with ET. But it's funny enough, nobody really talks about ET as much, even though they kind of remade it in newer films
Yeah.
with like different, like especially Bumblebee,
Yeah.
and like but this movie seems to stand the test of time more than E.T. Even though I mean I do love Steven Spielberg, but I feel like this one
No,
has
I
better
would watch this.
conversations.
I would watch this over ET any day of the week. Like,
It's maybe more relatable, like you were saying a minute ago, I think, Patrick, that in current time and with what's going on now, like I think you could relate to it maybe more than you could back then when everybody was more ride your bike around the neighborhood versus
yeah, it's a different world.
arguing and skeptical about politics and social media, that kind of
You think about it. I mean, we're 43 years removed from
thing.
this movie. I
Excuse
mean, the
me.
timing and the world that revolved around when this movie existed or when it came out, it just was a whole different world. So yeah, I mean, it goes back to that too. So,
It,
but yeah, man.
You know the only...
it,
Oh, go ahead, Rums.
I was gonna say it also was. I know because I'm a nerd about this movie. I've watched so many what do you cut interviews and stuff like that with John Carpenter, and he said it was kind of like a allegory for the Red Scare as well, because that was going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's where they got the inspiration of like doing the paranoia, like can't trust your neighbor because he might be a communist and all that. So that's where he drew a lot of his inspiration from for like the paranoia of the movie.
Yeah.
And the natural human fear of isolation. You know, you're trapped in the middle of nowhere with a group of people, and how well can you trust them? So yeah, that fear of your neighbor when you know one of them is suspect or maybe more.
And I think that, and bringing up that point, I think it's a good way to kind of segue into the likes and dislikes, because I know this movie set standards for just how horrific things can be, how all the design for everything, even the thing and how it was designed, it was phenomenal. But to me, the creepiest part of the movie is not even that. It's like you said, it's more that fact of you don't know who's who. You are sat there
Yeah.
even to that last point of the movie. And it's a good point to bring up because you have that moment where at that end, it's another movie that's up for interpretation. What happens? You don't know truly what happens at that point when Childs and McQuarrie come together. You don't know what's happening.
You kind of do if like
Yeah, Carpenter at least added on that recently, well, relatively recently, that at least we know that one of them is the thing.
yeah. Well,
Where
which,
that was even you could debate that neither or both or
yeah, it's what he cut. I know. I've known for a long time before because he kind of confirmed what the theories were online, or some of them, the ones I'd agreed with. So like John Carpenter said, if you don't see like the light in their eye, that means they're the thing. And then I know whenever the dog was like roaming around in the what do you cut in the camp before like the first attack happened.
Mhm.
You know how like that one part where like it goes inside one of the rooms and someone turns around, but you can't really tell which actor it is. So what the thing is that John Carpenter said, I forgot what interview it was, but he said that he used one of the studio guy, like one of the guys that working in the studio, to do that scene because they didn't want the audience knowing who exactly it was. So that
yeah.
way it
If
won't get
that's
any
true,
clues.
it still plays to the same truth in the script. Like they had the same haircut in the silhouette.
Yeah, no, it was confirmed. It was, I think, John
Yeah, it's the
Carpenter
guy
said it
yeah,
himself.
the actor who played the shape.
The thing is too, and I was reading on that too. They said that the dog, when they actually shot it, was really well done. Like the way the dog acted and stuff, there wasn't a lot they had to do with it. But they said one of the scenes you see the shadow and it pulls out the creepy figure. And
I have to see that. I have to
yeah,
see that. I didn't
so,
know that.
so they
For
said
real.
so they said they were walking. There was a scene where actually one of them was walking in front, and they
Like
shot
the
that.
guy, like there's a character walking in front of the dog.
Yeah, and
It's
then
probably when he's taking him to that cell.
well, it's when the dog actually is walking on his own. So right in that, there's a little niche there where they're walking, and I had to go and take a look at it, but they were walking, and that's where it was supposed to be, is that the guy was going to take him to the kennel.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where it's just him, and that shadow behind him is kind of a creepy feeling. It's
I
like,
have to see that. That's the cool thing about this movie. You'll watch it like 100 times. You will find something new mostly every single time.
Yeah, and
That's
there's
been
things
my
that
experience.
Yeah.
conflict, like in the couch scene, Palmer is got all kind of reflection in his eye, and he's already he was revealed in that scene, so that continuity breaks the scene at the end. The other conversation about the ends go to, it's really three things. One, the shine. He's in shadow by firelight, and he's kind of backlit. And so that the Palmer scene, I think, breaks the rule with the eyes, and I think there's another scene that happens too with the shine. But the breath, that's the big thing. You do see a super small amount,
Oh yeah, the breath.
but by
Yeah.
contrast, it's very, very low.
Well,
But
there.
the main exchange is the whiskey bottle.
yeah,
That's
That
the deal
wasn't
breaker.
that wasn't a whiskey bottle. It was the Molotov.
That's the speculation, but he's about to sip on it, so why would he,
Oh,
Man, you
he
guys are
needs to.
making me
Oh,
thinking he's
if
alone?
like,
because if you think about
This
it
is
in the
the
beginning,
debate. This is the
this
great
so
speculation.
I love it.
in the beginning of the movie is kind of like you know how like McCready is playing chess with
Yes,
the
with the
so
computer.
that is kind of like a setup for him playing chess with the thing. So like you kind of tell like
All the theories still point to Childs, though. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's
Child's. It's not confirmed because he said he doesn't want to confirm it. I saw that on what was that show
so
with the guy with the glasses? I forgot his name.
I know
Because
what you're talking about.
That's if one of them is the thing, and that it changes from even the earrings thing. Back when he wrote it back then, he didn't write it with the sequel in mind, and this extra forethought for this other thing. There's talks about that in the different documentaries, but this is the fun speculation: is while you're watching it, you can watch from any of the characters' point of view. Like Alien or Aliens, you rewatch it. I've watched it to where that person dies, and then I'll turn it off. Or they become the thing, and then I'll watch it from that point of view as when they're infected already, and try to only follow that character's path. And then when they get burned, I'm out.
I tried to
Rewatch
do
it
that
again.
myself because I think that's probably why I ended up watching it 5 times because I tried to, and Rome said it just a few minutes ago. I we talked about this before we came on. We're recording on a Thursday. I watched this for the first time Monday, which was 3 days ago. In that time, I've watched it 5 to 6 times. But because of that, I've caught, like Rome said, I've caught something new each time, it seems like. And now, with what you guys are talking about with all these theories, you're going to make me even watch it more now. Because now I just got to confirm it. It's going to kill me because I think I just in these last few days, I was so invested in this movie and I fell in love with it so quickly. I think one of my biggest favorite things of it is just with the pacing of the movie, just the way, like
it's so sharp in the
never
pacing.
not entertained in this movie, dude. Like I'm never like I'm bored. Like this is a slow scene. Like no, like I'm because I think there's so many moving parts. It's a chess game, is what we're watching, right?
It starts right out of the
it-
gate. The very first thing you see,
Yeah.
aside from the spaceship,
uh,
is this thing running, coming in, being shot at, and
You
it
said from
doesn't slow down much.
first scene, you see the spaceship, like the spaceship that's hidden.
yeah, the first scene. It's like
Yeah, practical model.
you know what's
with
funny
real
too?
lights.
This reminds me of Predator too. Whenever like
Very much.
it falls into it.
Very much. And these are reasons why I love some of the same film dynamic. The same type of film are my favorites.
Mm.
They follow this adventure, or some of it is from this creature that is misunderstood or from another place. Usually they come across as bad, but not always the case. Like with E.T., while that's a good film, it's still that same comes in from outer space. You just don't see necessarily all the same parts, but the mechanics are fundamentally the same.
What about War of the Worlds? They were pretty friendly.
Hey,
What
I
about
even like the remake of that.
I love the remake. I love what do you call it, the Steven Spielberg one. But anyways, what I was gonna say, do y'all have like the Blu-ray or the 4K?
I actually have the collector's edition of this movie.
So like, there's I don't know if it was. He said that John Carpenter said that the reason why I think he said that the pacing was so well is because this is the movie he had the most pre-production time to like write the whole script and like go over it and
Like
like
a
make sure
year.
it was like, yeah. And he said that he's never had that much time to like, because usually it's like a very short time to make the movie. That's what he was saying, and I think that's why it stands the test of time and like how sharp this movie is. Because like what Pat said, it's so well paced. I'm never bored. Honestly, I tried doing some work while watching it, and I was like,
You got distracted
I'm
from
gonna watch
work.
it.
You had
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I would just watch the movie.
You
I would watch
became the
movie.
meme. You became the meme. Yeah, I think he also, I think in that said he got in touch with his production designer early on, or the production designer, I think, even sought him out. So you have a lot of forethought that goes into the way the film was built to be filmed from the very beginning. So you've got a lot of thought for a year on how they're going to execute it.
Well, and to go while we have at those points, I got a few trivia points for you guys. Okay.
Uh-oh. Let me get my
No trivia.
It's time for the pad and pen here.
No, these are just like movie facts.
No,
Yeah.
Let me put my glasses on.
This being Keith David's really first movie.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I thought he was phenomenal. The way he portrays that, and it's what made his career later on. I don't feel like without this movie, we wouldn't have his version of Spawn. We wouldn't have all
Man,
these.
that iconic
Wait.
voice.
Wait,
That iconic voice.
Oh yeah, the animated
the
Spawn.
animated version of Spawn.
Yeah.
He is, and he does it way better than Michael J. White. I am putting it out there. Yeah,
Keith David, the voice is the voice, man.
The
and
voice,
the actor,
yeah.
like the way he
he's
comes
arbiter.
across and delivers, yes, the arbiter. All of these great things come from his talent as an actor, and he really sold it as the co-lead in the film. It was a great pairing between him and McCready.
Yeah,
because he doesn't come off as amateur in this movie. He's like one of the standouts, to be honest.
He is.
He is.
That's what they were saying. The way he was portrayed, like when they were doing auditions for the roles and stuff, they were pretty much like, "Yeah, we're going to get him because this is what we're looking for."
Mm-hmm.
And he did a phenomenal job throughout the movie. It's like you guys were saying, like McQuarrie and Childs is the two highlights of the film. When you see those two at the end of the film, there's a reason for that. And on top of it, it's that whole sense of, okay, what's actually happening?
Who's who?
Yeah. The way they portray the creepiness of them and everything is just amazing to see that. Now, talking about the chess game, that's John Carpenter's wife that voices.
Yeah, the only female in the entire movie.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, that's his wife in real life. That she was the voice of the chess master.
Yeah, there's some suspicion about the move in the chess match itself.
Oh, I heard about that one. Can you explain that?
Yeah, that's another.
Can you explain that?
I don't know fully, but from my understanding is there's some conflict where it goes from McCready being the white player to the black player and then back again. So you're unsure. The computer is presented with showing him that it's unsure who's in control or who's playing from which side. Which
sounds
is
like the movie.
It's a very much that, it's an allegory for the film. So I think that's in there intentionally. It's one where now there's another reason to go back and really rewatch that scene and scrub back and forth a few times.
Dude, now I gotta watch it. Jeez, I gotta watch it again now.
Now, the last point I want to bring up before we kind of go on the conversation is that they said the casting of McCready,
Yeah.
thank you. McCready was actually very difficult for this film. And
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Kurt Russell was not their first choice.
Mhm.
It was, so here's the ones that were noted to have been offered and they turned it down. Nick Nolte was one of them.
Although a young Nick Nolte in this, I would have, man,
he definitely would have that face, right?
Before 48 Hours, Nick Nolte,
yeah.
bringing the angry heat and flamethrower. I don't know, man. That would have been strong. I'd like to see that version.
Because he would have been because he was probably a handsome guy. I would say in the early. I mean, what his
he was lead with Eddie Murphy. Like, I mean,
Nick. Yeah, he's a good looking guy. Yeah. No, that might have worked. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Nick Nolte guy. So when I hear that name, I'm like, eh.
The other ones were Jeff Bridges, that was notably turned down. Tom Berenger. Now that one I could have seen.
I like that.
I would have seen.
Oh man, I would have liked to see the Jeff Bridges because I'm thinking,
this is the same.
They kind of have the same energy though.
Jeff Bridges did work with John Carpenter, I believe, like a movie after this. I forget.
I think you might like Jeff Bridges too much. Where I think you need to dislike McCready as a human.
Yeah.
He's kind of like one of the worst kind of people generally. But he's respected for being that outsider, that lone wolf. And I think, I don't know, these are interesting casting options, and I'm glad that Kurt Russell wound up with the role.
Well, Tom Berenger was the one that I was more curious about because, again,
sniper.
Well, not even that. His role in Platoon is what.
Yeah.
The Platoon fan in me for sure definitely glanced at that. Once you said his name, I was like,
yeah, I'm sure that's why he was looked at.
Platoon recently because we were doing Punisher Born, and he challenged me to watch that reading that book, and watching that again with Tom Berenger. I'm like, dude, he would have been a perfect lady if they didn't get Kurt Russell.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he would have had that great mane, all that great hair that Russell
luscious locks.
The Kurt Russell's character. I think what is it? Well, who do we just say before? Not Nick Nolte, but the other
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges probably could have done that. I mean, we've seen him in The Big Lebowski.
At this point, though, that's my concern.
Yeah, but like, dude, that fluffiness, man, with that beard and the hair, man.
Oh, the casting choice gets a little weirder from here. Christopher Walken was one of them.
Wow.
I can't see him in this movie. I can't. I'm going to automatically get a thing. He's a thing.
Scott Glenn. Roy Snyder.
That, I could see it for a believable isolation guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he pulls off sheriff.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be a researcher or on a ship or, I can see that look.
And yes, Pat, Scott Glenn from Silence of the Lambs.
I was just going to say, okay, yeah. He was actually just in if I don't know if you guys watch or anyone listening watches the new season of The White Lotus. He just made a sneak peek in the latest episode of that. So check it out.
And here are the last ones I have here. Chris Christopherson was one of them.
Yeah, I like that.
He would have brought the hair and the beard.
For sure. Maybe a nice song or two.
Yeah.
But
the guitar would actually played in the film.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's the thing that, and this will end this point out. When the screen Bill Lancaster wrote the script, he actually had in mind Harrison Ford or Clint Eastwood to take it. Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I think out of that, there's only 2 or 3 that I would have even considered. But I have seen the film. They hadn't seen the film, so they're going based off of leading men.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Instinct.
And you have them read for the thing as a casting director. Man, somebody can really blow you away in that table read, like your casting read, just audition can be phenomenal and can really still steer the whole film.
You imagine when I was reading that, I was thinking, it's like, okay, how's Clint Eastwood fit in this? And I'm like, okay, let's go with McGreedy. And then they're like, you feeling lucky, punk?
I could see him as the doctor. He's like, all I see is regular organs. There's a kidney, a liver.
He would have had a good mental breakdown moment like he does.
Yeah, especially with that 6-shooter dude shooting dude. I would just have Yeah, I would have flashbacks.
Have him
He would
being
have
Gary.
childs at that point.
But
Then he
no,
could have
if
been
you're
like, "You feeling lucky, punk?" You know,
You lucky punk.
I'm not the thing.
You improvise, you overcome, you adapt.
Stop, dude.
I'd be curious to see some of these other actors though playing against these effects, the animatronics and stuff at the time, because that was still pretty fresh, pretty new.
Well,
And then you look at the graphic nature of what they were dealing with. I can see them being like, what am I working on?
Well, that's why most of them turned it down. So all these guys were offered at one point for this movie. And when they looked at the script and went, this is a little graphic, they actually, most of them turned it down. And so Kurt Russell was kind of like one of their last choices, and Kurt Russell took it. And what was it? And for him to be, this is kind of like early, like this is kind of like his early on in his career situation where he was on Disney movies and stuff. But for this to be kind of like one of his first breakout roles,
Is fresh off of Escape from New York,
yes.
Yes.
which
That would be
would I don't even think would have had much legs yet, or had even come out. I think they filmed it. I don't know that it had been released. And I think in the interview and the behind the scenes, in that he says that he had, they had contacted him like 2 months, 3 months ago. So it was a short run from when they finally made their agreement or they contacted him to there. He's on set and they're in pre-production or whatever they're doing for the interview, because they're all in the same environment for the interviews.
Now, I think this is a great way to kind of go into what we liked and disliked about this film. So we're going to start off with Rome's. Rome's, what did you like about this film?
Oh, I love this film. I don't even think there's any dislikes, to be honest. It's so well paced. The acting is incredible. I think that's what really sells the paranoia and everything. Even like down to like the way the actors are reacting to the scene, where like the way I forgot his name. I think Windows, where or like was it Windows or the other guy? Where
And
like
I like
they're
Windows. I feel so bad for that guy.
oh yeah, like they're just like you just see that like I would have like the way he said it is the way I would have said it, looking at the spider thing crawling on the like I would have said the same thing. I was like, what the like it just the way they what do you cut they the actors the way they are just doing it's because you kind of forget like it's honestly, this is kind of like award-winning type of acting. And I know this kind of like I don't know if that's just me or anything, just kind of hyping it up, but like you the actors are just so and that the characters, the way it's like so well written and the so well acted is just you believe everything about this movie. And I think that's what like kind of makes the terror a little more deeper.
Yeah.
And like to be honest, I don't even know what's wrong with it, to be honest, in my opinion. I mean, maybe because I have nostalgia eyes and just because I've seen it so many times, I know I could throw it on and every time I have someone new and they there's well, my friends, every time they tell me that they haven't seen it, I'm like, we're not watching any trailers. We're going straight in.
Yeah.
I traumatized one of my friend's girlfriends, but she liked it either way. So
I can confirm, as being on the podcast, that is the way to watch this movie for the first time. If you've never seen it and you've only seen like now that I've looked up the movie poster and you guys were talking about it earlier, the 4K Ultra HD edition that they made. I think my brother had it and I still never watched it, but I remember looking at it and being like, "Whoa, it's all holographic, it looks cool." But that's all I ever saw of the movie. I never watched it, never saw any clips, and I'm just so glad I did, because going into this, man, it was such a treat to watch from scene after scene, it seemed like.
That made my heart grow 3 sizes that day. Just to know that having talked with you guys and then now you've seen one of my favorite movies, and then to know that it's one of Rome's favorite, like it's cool because it stands the test of time, and it's not everybody's flavor. And finding a hard part of it can be a challenge to somebody who really likes it.
and I like how they never call it like alien or like anything like that, extraterrestrial.
It could be
That's another
anything.
common thing with the dynamic or the themes with some of the films that I appreciate, like Prometheus, where you have something that is meant to evolve from whatever source. Right. And I grew up, my inspiration for going to see The Thing I think the reason my dad took me is I've got it still here on the shelf, is the Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials. My grandfather gave me this book when I was a little kid, and in here there's an illustration of the thing, and it looks like, and I think they had some of the concept art for it in the documentary, and along the way they decided that it should not look, we get a chance to, if I'm going to flex and do an effects film, let's make this what it could be, which is any sampling of any DNA. It's going to be what it was, and that it landed in the middle of the Arctic. Where did the like crab or insect parts come from?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it came in on a spaceship. So there's all these different parts that I was captivated, that I came to love already. So when I saw it, it just delivered on everything I could have possibly wanted, including that ending that just left you like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, yes, yes.
I was about to say, if you, and I do recommend the book, Who Goes There, if you're really into the thing and you want to know a little bit more about that specific alien, like they give a little more details, even to the point where it's kind of like telekinetic, and the environment it was in. So if you're a fan of this movie, I really recommend the book. Just it's not as good, I will say that, but it is worth the read. And it's not long. I read it, I think it was like, what, 8 hours or less. So it's definitely worth the read if you're a fan of, because they do give some really good explanation to the thing. If you always, I mean, I've been watching this movie since I was a kid, so it's nice seeing a little bit more like um what do you call it, lore to it, I guess.
You know, and the thing is, and I'll put it out there, and I know Rick, you might be able to. There you go. Wow.
And it even included like its little head in the ice.
Exactly, yeah, that's how it looked.
You know,
yeah.
These are all illustrations from those things. So if you look here in the corner, it's the sources, the Who Goes There. So these are all illustrations that Wayne Barlow did from written text. He was an artist, and he just drew the things that were described in these different
the three
stories
eyes.
or books. Yeah, just very captivating stuff. And that was the gateway I got in, was artwork and illustrations to these novels or short stories.
And kind of piggyback off of Rome's, because I do have a couple moments that you, and like this movie, and I know Rick, you might be able to take a lot here too, is that this is on the verge of the whole AIDS breakout too situation.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And so when you really look at the concept of the movie, that's why they were even talking about like the blood scene where they're drawing the blood the way they are. And they also had to be very cautious. Everybody did during that.
Yeah, the concept of infection, and then who you may not be able to tell, was very high, during just that general era.
Right.
So I was going to ask, how do you guys think the infection is spread? Like,
so I think it's by touch, because that's what they even said in the movie. Don't let the dog touch you.
I thought it was. I kind of interpreted it to be food. I don't.
Yeah, food. It is food, because they said if you catch in the movie, he says everybody has to start making
their own
food.
meal.
Yeah, you have to be taken internally, but that doesn't mean it can't get you like it does get you.
Yeah.
So if it gets you with a tentacle, and it manages to penetrate, and there's an exchange of the fluid, that's
or exposure.
Yeah, and that's a big part of how they talk about what happens with Blair, is that he's sequestered before that change in policy is implemented.
Yeah,
so you see him later on, but you see him in the cans later on, but there's this time frame where he would have had to have been fed before that was implemented.
So I have a theory on that one, is that whenever he's talking with the pencil, whatever, he puts the pencil like that.
Yeah. That's a grievous error if you're in a sterile environment, having worked in sterile environments.
He's doing that a lot. So if you watch the movie,
want to
you put the movie and he's like that.
Don't put it in your mouth, bro.
He has the gloves. But
don't eat it.
He just, it bothered me. I was like,
You
Maybe
see that on
that's how he
network
got
crime
affected. Yeah.
shows all the time when they've got gloves on. They'll
But
reach
like
up and
even them
they'll.
exchanging cigarettes and doing all that too. It's like, ugh, like that whole second time I watched it, I was like, oh, don't touch that. Like, I don't even want to know where, like, they did it purposely to give you that uneasy feeling that
Yes.
they're showing you this, they're doing that. And again, the Red Scare was a big thing. The AIDS was another huge thing during that time. So it's again, that was the whole time of, oh, I can't be around this person because of the whole thing of what's causing it to spread as much as it is, and having that feeling, it's that whole untrust. And that's what makes this movie so scary because I'm not creeped out by the alien or anything like that or the thing. I'm more creeped out and it keeps me more enthralled where I'm sitting at the edge of my seat. I have it on right now and I'm still sitting at the edge of my seat right now, seeing everything and seeing like, oh God, here it goes. What's going to happen next? What's going to do this? Like it keeps you just your mind going.
Yes.
And that's what makes this movie so good. That's where I think with most horror movies, I enjoy certain parts of that because it keeps you like, okay, what's going to happen next kind of thing. It's not like Michael Myers where they go, what about the, you know what something's going to happen because it's like, oh, they're playing this music again, or they're doing this, oh, they're doing that. It's a setup. The score for this, and I know that kind of leads to a point Pat wanted to talk about too.
Yeah.
The score for this, I enjoy.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I love
man.
it.
That first
I
song,
love
dun,
it.
dun, dun, dun.
So,
It's
and
like,
that's
Dun dun.
yeah.
I
Dun
think
dun.
the dun dun, and then when they first find the like when they go to the camp and find the spaceship and everything. Ah man, I wish I knew the name. I didn't look it up beforehand. But this is kind of one of my main talking points I want to bring up to you gentlemen because I know how much you love this movie, how much you came onto our podcast to talk about this movie. And one thing I wanted to bring up, this was my first time as you know watching this, and when the music hit, especially in that scene, something clicked in my head. I'm like, I've heard this somewhere. Where have I heard that music from? I then went to go down a rabbit hole to find out how many similarities there were from this movie, The Thing, to Quentin Tarantino's 2015 Western masterpiece, The Hateful Eight.
Fucking
There's
Tarantino.
a list.
Same composer.
There is a list of notes I will actually go down with you guys, and you can
Let's
see
hear him.
how many similarities are from The Thing to The Hateful Eight, and it's going to blow your absolute minds. So, first off, it's a snowy setting, adds a variable to lay into the plot, isolation. Another one is it's a group of characters who are isolated together. You have the scientists who are obviously in the Arctic together. Hateful Eight, you have everyone coming to the haberdashery. They're all stuck for the blizzard. There's a high lack of trust between everybody. It's a common theme throughout the whole movie. You see it in between characters. It can be friends or foe, people that you think were friends, but they're really foes, all that kind of stuff. Um, we just brought it up a few minutes ago, the food aspect to it. We did talk about how it's a possible theory that the infection comes from food. Obviously, Blair seems to possibly be infected by the whole food thing. One thing in Hateful Eight, you have John Ruth and OB are both poisoned by coffee. Uh, both movies star Kurt Russell. The ending to both movies have two survivors who are destined to die. A little side note, which I think is interesting as well, both actors, or I should say, both characters in both of those movies is played by one white actor and one black actor. Um, both movies have the same composer. We just talked about that. Heavily male dominated. It does have chess. It has the game of chess in both films. You have the chess with McCready at the very beginning, and you have the chess game being played between the Civil War general and Sweet Dave, I believe it is. One thing, theory I didn't find online, but I actually came to the conclusion for myself because I watched this movie so much within 2 to 3 days. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Hateful Eight, but I think that the Daisy Domergue character, Daisy, who is the basically what the story evolves around, I think she resembles the Thing. Reason why? Because everyone dies basically because of her or because anything to do with her. You have John Ruth, who is played by Kurt Russell as the bounty hunter. He meets, Samuel L. Jackson on the way there. the gang of guys back at the haberdashery are obviously there for her, right? They're there to rescue her. Obviously, we know what happens at the end and the conclusion of that movie, but that's something that blew my mind going in or coming out of this. I thought I'd share it with you guys because I don't know if you guys are fans of that movie. I'm a big fan of that movie.
It
B-Dawg is
explains
oh,
why I like Hateful Eight in
Yeah,
a different light. She is the infection and the reason for the distrust amongst the
the
group.
chaos.
yep.
And there is so much distrust amongst the group in a different way that it and the bleak uh, tone and the area in which the climate that they're set very similar and totally different at the same time. I
It is. They're
appreciate the connection.
it's a timepiece,
Yeah.
And
right? Hateful
yeah,
Eight's obviously a timepiece. They're two completely different stories. I mean, Kurt Russell, he's completely two different characters, right? I mean, compared from the Thing to the Hateful Eight. I mean, like I said, I think there was
or
just
is he? Is he just wearing the wrong hat?
hey, you know what?
Hey,
He does have
hey,
long hair and a beard in both
he
movies.
still has those luscious locks, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
At that
was it
age.
yeah,
Ennio Morricone or Morricone? I'm
yeah.
not sure how you pronounce his
It,
name,
I
but
think it's Ennio
it
Morricone.
was he did what the
Yeah.
Revenant and just a whole bunch of stuff. But it's got a classic. That's one of his few synth type of feels. I think that was way more. It feels like John Carpenter scored himself because of some of the
Yeah, it did.
similarities to the way he does his style, which he may have developed because he's a rock star himself, but also, man, you're there with an excellent composer. It might rub off on you a little.
One last thing I wanted to bring up too with those, and we can kind of move on. But that song that we brought up before all this that
Dun,
ties
dun.
in with the
Dun,
score,
dun.
right? When he well that, and then when he shows up, I wish I knew the name of it. I can't look it up, but like I said, it's when they see the spaceship and it's that long, drawn out, like very symphony sounding.
Yeah.
If you think about it, when that happens, Kurt Russell's character, obviously, that's like the big shocking point, right? That's when they see this, everything where the alien comes from, all that stuff. In The Hateful Eight, when that song plays, it's when John Ruth, played by Kurt Russell, figures out he just drank the poison coffee and now he's spitting up his guts. I just think it's kind of similar, but not very similar. I just thought it was kind of cool because it seems like whenever that song is played, it's obviously a high point in the movie or a very important part in the movie. So worth noting.
Well, one of the big things I want to bring up with the score too is that they said it, and Rick kind of hinted to it. This is actually the first time John Carpenter did not score his film. It was actually just his. It was an. What was it? It was Oh gosh, why am I? It was Morricone or an Ennio Morricone that did the score for this film. But not only that, it's sad that this movie's score got nominated for a Razzie.
That is crazy. Yeah, I remember that
But
one.
yet
Yeah.
the music that was not used in this film was used for the Hateful Eight, and yet it won Best Score at the Oscars that year when the Hateful Eight came out.
Funny how things play out, huh?
Exactly, and it's the same composer, same everything. That's what I was sitting. I was like, huh. But that's what I said. That's what gives it that creepy tone without giving away what's going to happen. It's that whole like you said, bum dun, like that whole
Little like Jaws.
yeah. Like it gives you that uneasy feeling throughout the movie, and it just comes at the perfect times of the film.
It's a good droning tension that's built with those
There you go.
few notes that he uses. Like
Yeah.
it's really, really well crafted.
The
Very
song I was
ambient.
the song I was referring to just a few minutes ago is called Bestiality
That's
by
a way to bring up a way.
Well, I'm just saying that's the song. So if anyone has Apple Music or
Careful when you look
Spotify,
that one up, ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen.
I like how we're still staying in the theme of the thing.
It's not Bestiality.
Yeah, it gets
I was gonna drop it.
quite beastie, that thing. It's got a lot of teeth everywhere. So watch it.
Oh, man.
Lots of teeth. You got to watch it.
But let's turn it over to Rick because I think I've kind of brought my points that I really love is the uneasiness. Even the blood test is probably one of my favorite scenes of the film.
Oh yeah.
The blood test having that little like when they're all tied up.
It's just that one scene where he's just calmly tells them, now, if everybody's so not so busy. Can you get me out of this chair? And like, I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
he sounded so sarcastic, and then he
I know
just
you
delivered
gentlemen
it.
have been through a lot, but when you find the
Oh
time,
yeah,
rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch.
That's
yeah,
part
there
of
you
why
go.
my thoughts and why I missed the
I had it
question
up
in one of our
ready.
last trivias was because my focus was on Gary because of his acting in that scene was so great. I missed my question because he took all the shine away in the scene from Palmer, who was trying to be subtle before he got revealed.
It was like the funniest thing. Childs was funny too. He's like, "Get me out of this chair!" Like when he's turning into it, it's like,
Yeah, that's one where you gotta let the sound guys know, hey, I'm about to let rip in here. So
yeah.
yeah. So I guess my favorite things about it, uh, I think the initial impression that I had when the credits come up, I was just, oh, wait through the whole credits, and then the lights come up. You're like, oh, they just leave it like that. Oh shit. Like that. Even as a kid, I'm like, wow, that's how you do it. Like that stuck with me. Even now, like as a writer, it's hard to get away. And you see some of the influence in a lot of the content that we watch now, very commonplace, where that would have apparently bombed back then too, because it was different back then. You didn't crash the ending. That's not how you left people feeling good out of the movie theater. That you didn't take their hope away. And so the impression that I had leaving the theater, I think, was my favorite thing about it. But beyond the feeling, the pure like satisfaction I had as an effects film delivering on the subject matter. An alien from space that's able to shape shift and take over bodies, and some of the popularity, I think, and different things at the time, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that was common. Somebody duplicating your friends, your family, your suspicion, that was already around pre-AIDS, pre-epidemic. That suspicion of your neighbor and your fellow person has been around since there was a person that was your neighbor or something. Who's that tribe over there? We don't know them. I'm going to be worried about it until we get to know them, if we do. So that tribalism mentality, especially when you're alone and isolated, but then it brought the effects hammer home. Rob Bottin and the Stan Winston team that came in with some additional parts, just Rob delivering on all the stuff that they came up with in the storyboards that you see later on. It was terrifying as a kid. I felt so torn when the dog scene happened. My heart was broken for all of those dogs. I care more about the animals than the people. I was devastated for these poor trapped puppies. You know what I mean? I was like, I still am just thinking about it. Because it's so well done. Yeah, it's so well done, man. And you see this one that's filleted, and you see this torture and the way that the dog, they're spraying that one dog with water, and it's like, hey, man, I don't like getting squirted with that water. So even the dog's acting during that scene is impactful. The setup before that, where you get the suspicion, even amongst the dogs, was so well set up.
Right.
Where the way the one walks into the kennel and is like,
that's right.
all the other dogs are like, you're just gonna bring that in here, dude, and lock it in here with us. And chewing on the fence, like there was just so many things that were so believable about that scene. As a kid, I was like, they just filmed this. This is happening. There's no way that that's not real. And then you get the giant monsters with the teeth and everything. It's how, I'm like, it's delivering on everything I wanted to see. I love aliens. I love monsters. Let's go. But now as an adult, having watched it maybe 1,000 times, it's crazy. The things that I'm made not like are only in the minutia. It's in the some of the reason we get to talk about it so much is if you cleared up the thing that might be called a mistake, you might take away some of the lore, some of the mystery about it. So the thing that I might call a thing that I don't like, I would still leave right where it is. Even the mistakes on the film help add to its spot in history and its impact and the reason that it stays so watchable today by a 2025 audience. Like it's, if you haven't watched The Thing, go watch The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley, man. If you know him from Oatmeal, watch this cat. Man, Wilford Brimley will take you for a ride. All the actors really do a good job of bringing their part of a personality, which I think is what it's trying to show with all 12
Yeah.
aspects of a human psyche. The fear, you get just different parts in different people. Knowles being like the pleasure. He don't care, man. He's gonna put on some music and he's gonna dance. It's all good.
Yeah. Who's the guy with the curly hair that's got the denim jacket? Always seems like he's smoking a joint.
Oh yeah, Palmer.
Windows? Oh,
Palmer.
Palmer.
No,
Yeah.
Windows is the guy that looks like Lindsey Buckingham from.
Yeah, he does. Lindsay with a little scruff.
I saw him when I first thing I thought when I saw Windows, I was like, oh, it's Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, Palmer. To me, always he felt like was it Maverick from the A-Team?
Yeah.
Like there's something when I was, I'm going in to see this film, I was like, oh, that guy reminds me of. But Wild Card, I think that's kind of the more loose canon, and you're in your environment. I'm up here. I'm an adult. I'm gonna have my freedom, and shared that with Childs. So you get this communal. That was another big part of it, is the diverse casting at the time. Even though there's no women, aside from the voice you hear on the computer, it makes sense for the time and what's going on with this weird thing. In 1982. The possibility and what would happen with the dynamic of people. Who knows what their full backgrounds are other than scientists and stuff, and but the way that each of these actors brought their particular part to life was just really cool to me. I thought they all did just a great job, especially Gary. I think he had to grow those eyebrows out for at least 2 or 3 months to get them out to
Bushy, the caterpillars.
Full caterpillar range.
What was it? But Patty B, what was your take on it?
Take on just the movie in general, right? Pros. I mean, there's a lot of things.
I hope there's not a lot of cons, but what's the pros?
There's definitely not.
I'd be interested to hear him though.
I don't think
Yeah,
there's
me
any
too.
cons. I believe Rome mentioned it earlier. There's nothing to really dislike about this movie.
You'll still come up with one or two.
I actually might have something, but it probably contradicts itself.
I mean, there are the complaints that people have, of like if it's pacing or something, but
Or the too dark ending, which, and if you think about overall with the movie, it's just, I mean, that's the best ending you could get, because I heard
if you changed it,
and I think
how does that feel?
The original ending was supposed to be what do you call it? Everybody died, I think, or
The wolf
the
gets
thing-
away. Like there's
no,
a
it
couple
was
of different versions.
there was a couple. I think it was like 2 main ones, but they stuck with this one because it was just too dark for the actual ending.
It's the one that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It makes all the sense. And that's what it leads me back to the Hateful Eight thing. Like when I saw Hateful Eight for the first time, like all the way through in that ending, that was one of the biggest things I loved about that movie, was that ending. Just the way, they so-called kill, what's been the problem this whole time. And then the 2 guys that are wounded, they're dying, and it just kind of it pans out, goes black, and it plays that Roy Orbison song, and it's just chef's kiss, dude. It was so perfect. And then when I watched this, I'm like, I see what they did there. But obviously, it's way before the Hateful Eight thing. I just think it's so great when you have those two characters who kind of been like, obviously no one trusts anyone in that movie, right? But it always seems like Childs and McCready kind of butt
Didn't like
a
each
little
other.
bit more. There was always this tension.
Yeah.
I just think it's so fitting how they're the final 2 in the movie. And then, you guys talked about earlier with, who is the thing and all that. So it's just, it's such a perfect ending. I don't think it could have been ended, honestly, any other way. That's actually in my list of pros here. I do enjoy Kurt Russell in this. I think like we talked about the casting earlier and everything. I just think he's a perfect role for this movie.
He fits McGreedy 100%, 110%. He fits.
He plays it serious the whole time, which he doesn't in every film.
Does. And he's got those eyes too. That's one thing. His eyes are always like he means business. You know, he's serious. He's one of those actors that
Fierce.
exact. Thank you.
Yeah, when he's trapped with the
Good word.
dynamite scene, he is
Yeah.
intense in that little
He is
small
not
space.
playing. He is not
Yeah.
playing.
When
He's not.
he comes back from being, you know, left out in the cold, it just he
And,
means
and you know what? I want to jump on that because, like, in most movies, and I think that's why it probably didn't do well at the time, is that the leader is always the most virtuous one, and that one he was the most desperate one. He was the one that was able to blow himself up and everybody else if they didn't listen to him.
Mhm.
And I think that's why probably maybe that's why they didn't like the movie when it came out because McCready is the leader, but it's that he had to force himself to be the number one.
well, that was that whole scene too, right? Where they're
Well,
trying.
they had the mini vote,
Yeah.
but because
pulled the
Norris
knife
is
on
already a thing, he's like, nah, bro, I don't think I'm up for the task. Maybe one of you guys should do it.
Yeah.
Too much attention on me.
I don't want this right now.
And then Childs tries to go for
Yeah.
it. I pulled out on him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so you knew that
and I-
those were the two alphas between Childs and McCready, to your point. Like,
well, and I forget who the guy's name is that pulls the knife on him, but I like how when he does that, I don't think the guy
Clark.
Clark.
what's his
yeah.
name? Clark?
Or Clark.
Yeah.
Clark. So I don't think Clark realizes that McCready is behind him, going to take the charge. It's like Clark was like, you know, stopping Childs. Because I watched that kind of carefully, and you can kind of tell how McCready just sneaks in right behind him, and he's like, "I'll be the leader," you know.
Yeah, they had already sized each other up. And
Yeah.
in case there was something like that, they already knew who to watch out for. And
I think that there's a gun that's just sitting there, right? It's whoever the leader is grabs the gun. So I think that's what McCready does. He grabs that gun before anyone else can. He's like, "I'm the leader." It's just like
Yeah.
follow my lead. Or But you know, one other thing too I wanted to bring up, and I think it's nice because it involves the pacing of this movie. Um, I love the first 30 minutes of this movie in particular. I love how they kind of hide it in plain sight with the dog being the thing. When I first originally watched this movie, I didn't interpret that right away. I think I had to like maybe rewind it or maybe just think like, oh wait, the dog, that's why that's who they were chasing in the very first scene. Like that's something that's easy to lose touch with, I think, when you're watching this movie, is that the dog is a big part of it. And I like how they kind of hide it in plain sight for the first 30 minutes up until obviously the stuff in the cage happens with the dog. So
it is
Yeah.
specifically, that is one of my favorite parts. If they had put the subtitles in for the Norwegian, the gag is up from the very first line of the movie.
Yeah.
oh, it is.
Because if you translate it, if you happen to have and put it on and do that kind of thing already, you spoil the movie. So if you're going to watch this movie and you haven't watched it already, don't watch it with subtitles.
Okay.
At least not until you're 10 minutes in, because of what they say is so impactful, and it is a direct warning. That is the last. It is on a desperate run, unarmed, on its own for survival, and you can watch that. It's change immediately. The dogs change from its frantic behavior trying to lick and get close to, who is it? What, Bennings or
Yeah,
one
Clark.
of the
Clark.
yeah, Clark, one of the first guys, but doesn't necessarily do any sort of invasive contact. To immediately after I dropped in a grenade. Like after that happens and the Norwegians are gone and the other one gets shot, the demeanor completely changed. It's like, oop, time to be laid back. I'm gonna be chill. Time to get in and check this place out, see what's up. Just as the dog, like everything is so well crafted. But that first line, if they had mentioned what it was, it would have been ruined.
I was gonna pull it up. I pulled it up. It is I'll quote it real quick. It's get the hell out of here. That's not a dog. It's some sort of thing. It's intimidating.
A dog.
It isn't real. Get away, you idiots. That was perfect, Rick. I love that.
Yeah, man. It's so iconic. Like if you hear hearing the people that can do it in Norwegian too, like because of how iconic it is, like the warning that you scream, and if they could have known, if any of them spoke Norwegian or whatever.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe we shouldn't say it just in case fans have not seen the movie.
Oh, it's way too late.
We
by this
already
point in the-
spoiled it.
You know what's funny is I had one up on everyone, dude. My family is from Norway, and when I heard that line said, I was like, "No way, dude!"
What?
I'm just fucking with all
See?
of it. I did not
He
know.
was fucking.
I,
You
You know
I
what's-
couldn't help myself.
I love watching.
You
This
could have
movie
saved
with,
everybody.
Like, I would love watching this movie with new people because they always ask about the dog. Why are they shooting the dog? And I'm like, I don't know.
Watch the movie. Like,
Yeah, and then what I wanted to jump on what Rick said is like
I wonder
with the-
why.
But I wanted
got animal activists going after this movie, like, oh, that's fucking bullshit.
They missed.
They did miss. They did miss.
yeah. What he cut the what I want to jump on what Rick said is that what he cut even the dog like it starts acting a little weirder as the movie goes a little long because like the way they hold the shots and like the way he just places his head down is kind of like with that music the dun dun
Done.
and yeah he just puts his head down like in like I guess predator mode because apparently this dog was like half wolf half husky.
Yeah, hearing them talk about the dog actor is awesome. And every now and then you get one that really shines. And this one, it sold the performance that they needed of what's up with that dog.
well, you brought up a good point too with the whole scene with Bennings when he goes underneath the table. When he goes, you like he's all scared. You can put that in interpretation too. Did he get him or did he not? Because we also see him go be one of the first ones that's killed off shortly after the dog.
That's the great thing about this movie. You never know.
Yeah, the red
That's whole
herrings.
thing is,
The
like that was when I watched it again. I was like, I'm wondering if that's how he got him. Was because you wouldn't think, oh, a dog brushes up against you. Oh, there had to be something that sparked him to go, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they even make a note to say like, "Hey, how much time did you spend with that dog?" I don't know,
Oh,
about an hour.
and he was loose too. I
Yeah.
don't know how.
yeah,
how
then
many
you
hours.
also get the split face piece that they brought back. And so
Oh, that didn't make any better. Like it's just
yeah, he's in there with that. So that's not good. If
One
he
thing-
wasn't, then he is by then.
I think when they had the Norwegian bot, what is it? It's one of the bodies that's taken over by the organism. Or I think it's like covered. They don't really make it like an attention thing, but I watched it and you can see it move. You can see
Oh
it.
yeah. You can see it, in the
Yeah,
blanket, right?
it's not. They don't make it a big thing, but you could see. Yeah, you could see it like rising, like from under the cover, like the
Yeah,
cover
and then
was
the way
raising a little
the
bit.
way the actor turns to look at it, it stops moving.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
very
that.
faint. It's very faint. And it's one thing like I think it was the first time I watched it. I was like, hey, I did one of those Rick Dalton meme things. Like, yeah. No, I there's just so many hidden things. I think from years to come when I watch this movie, I will watch this movie with my kid when he's old enough, obviously. But
I
this is
pity
just-
Noah.
this
Throw
is
him-
It's
a
well
movie-
known in the
Throw
Prince
him into
family
the deep end.
household. Yeah,
This
they
is
know.
a-
Oh, Dad's watching Thing again. Here we go. Let's
think
all
this is
sit on the
He's
couch.
gonna be really pissed the day you show it to.
One thing I love about films, and especially films that I love or I learn from, I love learning from movies. I love learning something different from every time I watch it. That's a big thing for me with films. And this one checks that box for me. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. I mean, me and Brandon have talked about, why I love Interstellar, because every time you watch Interstellar, it doesn't matter if you're a big Christopher Nolan fan or not. Every time you watch that movie, you learn something different.
Well,
You
just
learn-
like Akira, when we talked about Akira,
Yeah.
there's always
Akira.
interpreted in that film.
You can interpret
Mhm.
any film. I mean, it's meant to make you think different ways, have different meaning, or it's all different meanings. It's just
Well,
it's beautiful.
Before we go into our rankings and stuff, there is one thing I want to bring up that I don't think we've really touched on a lot was Blair. Blair's performance in this, I really enjoyed, and I think I'll put it up there. I probably enjoyed more than McCready. And the reason is because he's the one that kind of puts it together like when he has that computer interface and he
Oh,
goes,
I love that
Oh,
scene.
That's yeah. Thankfully, you brought that up.
yeah, like that scene alone, when you see him type in, he's like the chances of most people being affected near you and it being 75%, and that's when he kind of goes on his crazy spell a little bit. That's where it was like, hun, shit's about to go down.
Yeah, and if you track like Wilford Brimley, aside from just really showing out in this role, it's a great. I think he understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Because he's a dangerous man in there with the axe, taking it to those things, and is pivotal in a lot of the things in the discovery, the reason they can't escape. And you decide when he becomes infected, and he was human during most of the time that you're really involved with him. And I think it's only after he's got the noose tied and is eating the cans that he's become the thing. And by then, he's the one that's also free to move around. That's not always with the group.
Yeah.
And then the building of the spaceship beneath, like there's just so many things that Blair does that are just, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Well, like even the whole time, because they already had an off feeling about him when all that happened. They put him out in the tool shed, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I'm fine. I swear, I'm fine.
I'm not going to hurt anybody."
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
the way he carries himself right there, and the way he says it, I'm like, yeah, that's not sketch. That's something somebody would say if they were the thing. You know?
Just let me in, man. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good, man.
no, you're not good.
I'm good. I'm good. You know.
Stay there, bro. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
One thing too, man, that whole computer scene, it's just so eerie, and it's like the whole part of like, and I did the math, and I did a little calculator and everything. They're like, if this hits mainland, it's going to take 27,000 hours to take over the whole world. Basically, is what it says. I did the math. It's just over 3 years it would take to take the whole world.
And that's by that standard.
Yeah.
That today's standard, it was even faster.
Yeah.
And I think that puts the gravity on it, even though it's a short scene and it's, you see it on the screen and you're looking at some biology and stuff in different scenarios. But the time when you really if you do the math, you're like, oh, that's to the end of everybody's gone.
Yeah.
A year and a half.
They won't even know it.
Yeah. By 6 months in, it's chaos. So the last 2.5 years are just a terrible end.
And I want to like add to that. That is probably one of the best exposition dumps I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, say less, fam. All right, I got you. Oh shit, yeah, that's no good.
You had me at hello.
Yeah.
And that the subtlety of this film and the way they drop the drama, the shadows do work.
Man, I gotta look. I think I gotta go back to this movie just for the shadows you guys were talking about. Like, I need
There's
to watch
definitely
the dog
2
one.
shadows that are suspect,
Yeah.
maybe 3 that are pivotal.
I never thought about the
And debatable.
shadows. So now I have something new to find. Because like I said, every time I watch this movie, man, I find something new or just I hear a theory on YouTube, Twitter, whatever, or wherever else they have theories on, and I watched the movie and I'm like, well, I could see that one. I don't know about that one.
Oh,
But every single time.
I found a dislike. I would have liked to have seen Null's death scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
But
that
yeah,
only comes with the knowledge of knowing how cool it would have been.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the storyboards for how that was supposed to go down.
Really? So could you enlighten us?
Yeah, well, him and Gary are beneath Blair's cavernous dwelling that he's dug in the meantime during his captivity. And so they're down there. McCready's doing his thing, getting the dynamite. They're all trying to rig the whole place with explosives. Gary gets the fingers in the skin, which is terrible. Oh my god,
that is a bad way to go.
Yeah, it's terrible. But you don't see Knowles die on screen. In the storyboards, the Gary thing is kind of on top of like the box. He kind of walks by and it's big enough that it's able to reach around from the other side. And then as McCready is at the end and the dynamite rig comes up, it's Knowles that comes up and he kind of gives this "help me" line before his face kind of balloons out into more thing. Yeah, so it's this very traumatic, like, oh no. And I think that's probably why they pulled it. Either they didn't shoot it or they would have pulled it is because of its intensity. Like the one guy, while he's a thing, I think he really kind of got some empathy for Bennings because he's like, Even though he starts to make this horrific alien sound,
Oh gosh, it's so
he still
horrible.
has a lot of his humanity. And I think that would have been maybe too far for Knowles, but I would have loved to seen it.
I
But
think because we've seen it so many times,
it's
we kind of want to
so
add some extra stuff.
intense. Yeah, you know, you don't see what Fuchs, you don't see him die on screen, and
Fuchs,
it's
no.
kind of a mystery what happens to him on whether he self-immolates or whether Blair gets to him. So yeah, there's so much to rewatch. I again have got another reason, even though I've watched it once or twice in the past week, including the prequel. The prequel is different, and you can have your take on it, but there are things to like about it too.
Yeah, there
you
it
know?
is. And they kind of got screwed on that one because I heard that they were rushed into production and they cut their budget with the CGI. So I think that was a
They
big
shot a lot,
portion.
all that stuff practical, and the practical stuff looked incredible by
Yeah, I
Studio
did.
80i. And same with their Green Goblin that they ended up cutting out of Spider-Man. But some of the practical work looks really, really good. And then when you try to help it or do something to certain parts of it, the whole thing looks like it's affected, even though some of it may not be. And it suffered from that. And a lot of people thought it was a remake. And
As
you know,
we heard a little while ago.
yeah, it was not poorly, or it was poorly marketed, I guess, in that
Yeah, it
respect.
was.
So if people knew that it was a prequel, I don't know how far along prequels or how much you leverage that, but it would help to know, I think.
And the prequel is about Norwegians. So if you're interested in watching, it's the story before this story.
Yeah, one you can watch with subtitles on.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is in that dialect, because it is by a director that is Norwegian, I believe.
So now we'll go into our rankings. So let's start
Okay.
off with Rome's. Rome's, where are you ranking on a scale of 1 to 10 things?
10 things.
10 things. 10 things I hate about. No, I'm just.
I absolutely love this movie. I have no problems with it. It's a straight 10 out of 10, which is, and I know people on my channel, I know people like to say that I'm a bit harsh on movies, but this is one of those movies I'm actually giving it a whole full 10.
B-Dawg, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the first perfect 10 rating I think we've had for one of our discussion pieces.
Nope.
We've had an okay, never mind.
Silence of the Lambs.
Did I? You gave it.
John gave it.
I
Oh,
gave it. That's right.
Oh man, dude, you almost let
Because
me
I,
go.
I
It's that hopes and dreams again, Rones. We
You,
give.
you almost let me up, you know?
I thought because when we do these rankings, I keep my anything from I kind of treat it like I take the Dave Portnoy pizza challenge from Barstool. I kind of take his approach with that, where anything over a 7 is usually pretty good for me. So, but I'm not going to rate it at a 7. I have more respect for the thing than that.
Yeah, you better. Let's go to Rick. Where are you ranking on 1 to 10 things?
oh, you guys give it what you give it. Honest opinions only, but it is hands down a 10 for me. It established a lot of my film taste.
Yeah, same here.
It delivered, and it's got so much rewatchability, and the flaws that I tried to find are just semantics. You know, there are bigger films by far that I could pick apart and things that I think are flaws or wrong with, but nah, it's a 10, solid 10. It ends up growing an 11 and a 12 and a 13 the more it acquires.
I like the fingers, man.
So
like
yeah,
Yeah. Hope your face doesn't split in two next.
Oh, if only.
I thought you were about to throw a gang sign at me.
And I'll go my ranking. The fact being that, so like I said, this my first time watching it was last year during your guys' trivia showdown, watching and coming up with questions for it. And I have never, and if we redid our list for top 5 horror, this would be up there for me. It wouldn't go higher than Psycho, because to me, Psycho is still my favorite horror film, but it's right there. I'm going to give this also. I'm gonna give this a 9.7. I like this movie. It's really enthralling. It keeps you going. I have never felt this way than maybe Psycho and a couple other movies where I keep myself at the edge of my seat going, what's happening? You know, because
You
even
just give it some time. Just give it some time to give it
oh,
a 10.
it might go creep up to that number 10. And Brones, by the way, go check out that video game because the video game is amazing for the thing.
I have to find it though. Where
The-
is it on? Is it like available to play on anything?
I think it still is. I'll have to get back to you on that, but I'll give it a 9.7. Pat, where are you ranking it?
So,
It better be in the nines or we're outing you.
no, you know what? I have a new profound respect for this movie every time I see it now. Either will it be a clip on, the old TikTok, whether it be a picture of a poster, I will always know what that movie is now. And I think because of that, that'll always stick with me. I will always love this movie now. Now, by the way, thank you guys. Thank all three of you for just recommending, because this is why I love doing this podcast. This is why I love doing this, because I love movies, and I I like to take the Artie Bucco approach and broaden your own horizons. That's a Sopranos reference for you guys. No, I just this movie, I think it has potential to get higher than what I'm going to say, but I'm going to give it a 9.1. I don't think it is a perfect movie. It does have potential to be a perfect movie, but it's also how you interpret it, right? It's all about how you like this genre of film. I just didn't grow up with the whole sci-fi background. I know this was also my first time watching this week, which probably didn't help my case, but I think if I maybe had the Rome's approach of watching this when I was a lot younger, you probably interpret it a little bit different than when you were younger to older, but I probably would have had it higher, but like I said, opportunities to be higher. So, I think I'm happy with a 9.1 because I don't do usually 9-point ratings when we do these. So, for a movie that's that new to me, it's pretty good.
Dang, you gotta get your kid to watch it so he can give it a 10 later.
Yeah.
3-year-old Noah, come on in.
and-
Let's watch the thing.
when the low score is a 9.1, hey, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So that should tell the audience something.
But that's why I said this is a great movie to come on. We want to thank Rick and Rome to really kind of drive us forward to doing this movie and getting us to have fun with it. As always, thank you guys for joining us. Rick, tell the fans where they can find you.
Just at Rick Prince, my name, anywhere you want to look. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Rome's, other than on Comic Talkers now, where can the fans find you?
You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram a little. It's kind of growing there, but mainly my main concern is YouTube and TikTok.
And like I said, Rome's and we host a podcast called Comic Talkers with two of our great friends, Bryce and Mary. Please go check us out. Remember, fans, if you like this video, you want more of it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the bell notification so you never miss an episode. Check us out, J4F Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not sure if I should say TikTok at this point in time because we're recording this and it's not releasing for about a month. We don't know what's happening yet. But TikTok right now, at J4F Podcast, and also check us out on Spotify for other great movie content. Without further ado, my name is Brandon.
It's your boy Patty B. And remember, we do it just for flicks. Bye-bye now.